All right, here's where things start to spiral. A royal family insider, one with a long history of silence, has just broken their NDA. And what they're claiming? It's not just tabloid fuel. It could obliterate the entire image of King Charles's reign before it's even stabilized. Because according to this new whistleblower, let's call her M for now, King Charles and Camilla never legally married. Not in the way the public was told. Not in a way that would ever be recognized by the Church of England. And that bombshell? It has domino effects on Charles's legitimacy, Camilla's royal status, and yes, even William's and Harry's positions. Because if the marriage is invalid, then Camilla is not queen consort. She's not even legally his wife. But that's not even the wildest part. M claims she's holding on to physical evidence, a copy of the real 2005 wedding paperwork. Except it's not a wedding certificate. It's a civil partnership agreement. Signed, sealed, but never filed in the public registry, which means the entire royal wedding may have just been a televised illusion. And M says she was there, an event planner for the private Windsor team. She claims she saw everything, the legal team arguing behind closed doors, the rushed signature swaps, the decision to run with a symbolic service instead of a binding ceremony. Her exact words? It was theater, royal theater, nothing more. I watched them fake the most sacred rite of the British crown. And she's not hiding in the shadows either. No blurred voice, no dimmed silhouette. Just a calm, clear woman in her 50s, sitting in a BBC interview room, looking the camera dead in the eye and saying, "They lied, and I helped them do it, but not anymore." And suddenly, decades-old questions are exploding back into the spotlight, because let's not forget, Charles wasn't even legally allowed to remarry in the church when he married Camilla. He was a divorcee. She was a divorcee. It caused a massive constitutional headache back then, and many questioned how the church bent their own rules just to make it happen. But M says they didn't bend the rules. They just faked it entirely. The marriage ceremony, she claims, was a symbolic spiritual blessing, not a legally binding union. The papers? Filed weeks later. Not as husband and wife, but as companions under civil protection law. That distinction might seem small, but in royal legal protocol, it's everything. And suddenly, it explains so much, like why Camilla was quietly titled Princess Consort at first, why no official wedding registry entry was ever released to the public, why top church officials at the time refused to publicly endorse the marriage, and why Queen Elizabeth herself did not attend the ceremony inside the Guildhall. She only showed up after, for the blessing. A subtle royal snub no one fully questioned, until now. Now, people are going frame by frame through old footage, watching Camilla's uneasy body language, spotting Charles repeatedly glancing off camera, possibly toward legal advisors. Even the officiating priest, now deceased, had once hinted in an obscure podcast interview. What occurred that day was more symbolic than legal. But if that's true, then everything changes. Because under British royal succession law, only legitimate marriages can pass on full legal recognition for spouses and heirs, which means Camilla's role as queen consort could be constitutionally null. Her crown, symbolic. Her legal protection under royal status, potentially invalid. And according to legal scholars, it also throws a wrench into how future reigns will interpret Charles's rule. One professor of constitutional law just said, "This isn't just a domestic issue. This is a foundational question of monarchic legality. If Charles wasn't legally married, then the monarchy's line is built atop a procedural lie." And the story's catching fire. Major UK media outlets are holding emergency editorial meetings. The palace is reportedly in crisis mode, issuing no statements but calling closed-door conferences with senior staff and legal advisors. M's testimony is already being circulated internally within the BBC and Sky News. Insiders say two major royal commentators are preparing special segments, but holding off until they get clearance from their legal departments. Why? Because this isn't just PR. It's potentially treason-level accusation territory. Camilla, meanwhile, is missing. No public appearances in over a week. No garden parties, no charity visits. Rumors say she's retreated to Ray Mill House, her private estate, refusing to speak to anyone but her personal security team. And Charles? Sources say he's furious, not at the whistleblower, but at the team who allowed the files to leak. He's allegedly demanded a full lockdown of royal archives. No one in, no one out. But the damage may already be done, because M isn't done talking. She says she has more documents, more video footage, and even email threads between senior staffers questioning the legality of the ceremony in real time. And she's promised to release them if silenced. That sounds like someone who's prepared for royal retaliation. Already, hashtags are trending. Hashtag MarriageGate, hashtag Camilla the Companion, hashtag Charles Exposed. And the internet is having a field day. But royal experts are dead serious. They're saying this could prompt a formal parliamentary inquiry, or at the very least, a constitutional clarification by Buckingham Palace. Because the monarchy depends on public trust and legal tradition. And right now, both are wobbling. For King Charles, who spent decades trying to rebuild his public image after Diana, this is a nightmare scenario. Because if the marriage to Camilla is legally void, then so is the narrative of redemption, loyalty, and stability he spent years selling. This isn't just about love or scandal. This is about the crown itself. And as M keeps talking, and the palace stays silent, the story only grows. Because in the world of royalty, silence almost always means something's true. For years, the world was told that King Charles and Camilla had finally sealed their decades-long love story with a legitimate royal wedding, approved by the church, sanctioned by the crown, and blessed by tradition. But now, one royal staffer has come forward with proof that the entire ceremony was a hoax. She says Charles and Camilla were never legally married in the eyes of the church, that their 2005 wedding was just a glorified photo op, a symbolic stunt to save face. And she's not just talking. She has documents, private emails, and a copy of what she claims is the real legal agreement. Not a marriage certificate, but a civil partnership form, filed in secret. So if this is true, then Camilla isn't queen consort. She's not even technically his wife, which means this entire royal era could be built on a lie.